C++ exercise number 7 is here. In this exercise, basically we're going to use a function with multiple arguments to solve the problem. Basically, the problem is write a function named scale that multiplies its first argument by 10 raised to the power indicated by its second argument. So basically, you're going to input, the user is going to input a number, and then it's also going to input the number that's going to raise 10, like 10 to the what power, and that's going to be determined. That sounds kind of confusing, so I wrote it out. Scale equals number times 10 to the y power. So you're gonna take from the user the number, and then you're gonna multiply it by 10 to the y power, and we're gonna use functions to do this. Basically, the number and y are going to be passed to a function, and it's gonna solve for scale. So you're only gonna use int main for the input of the variables. So we're gonna start this off. This is where you go pause it, go try it yourself, learn how to do functions, and then come back and try this. We're going to include the input-output stream. We're going to include the CMath because we're going to need to use for the powers, you know. We're going to use a float function. We're not going to do a type void. We're going to do a float because we want it to return something, and so we need a float. Float, we'll call it scale, and then we're going to say float x and float y. This is what's going to be, the variables are going to be passed into float x and float y, because we're going to need the one that raises 10 and the number itself that's multiplied. So hopefully that makes sense. Just using namespace, the int main. Okay, now we're going to start programming. Let's do float. We're just gonna take num1 and num2 and just ask the user to enter it. So we could say enter a number, and this is the number that the thing is gonna be multiplied by, num1, right? And then enter the power you want 10 raised to, right? num2. And then let's see, the result of the scale function is, and then we're gonna basically just output scale num1, num2. Basically, this is doing is this is passing num1 and num2 into the same like correlated spots as where num1 and num2 are located. So it would be float x and y, which I haven't done this yet. I'm about to do it. I haven't wrote the function scale yet. So we're just going to do our normal system pause, like as if we're done with the program or something, but we haven't really done much yet. Or not the scale part. That's the big part. I'm going to just enter down a bit. Okay, basically all you have to do is just do the same thing as at the top, float scale, and then float x, float y. And this is what I was talking about. Basically, it's correlated as in num1 is going to be passed to float x, and num2 is going to be passed to float y. Or it's going to be num1 is x, and num2 is y. So if I refer to x in this function, it's actually using num1. If I refer to y, it's using num2. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm just enter down a bit more. Okay, let's declare a variable called scale factor. Okay, we're gonna say scale factor equals the power of 10 raised to the num2 power, right? Because you want the number, you want 10 raised to the whatever power the user enters, which is He's prompt right here. Enter the power you want 10 raised to. And then we're going to return x, which is the number that we inputted, times the scale factor to give us the scale in general. Let's see, hopefully I didn't mess up. I did. Oh, wow, that was dumb. I put num2, I'm supposed to put y. Okay, that's better. Enter a number. I'm gonna do numbers, easy numbers, so I can do it in my head. We're gonna enter the number 5. Now this is 5 is gonna be multiplied by 10 raised to the power that I'm about to enter. We're gonna raise it to 2, so 10 squared is 100 times 5 is 500. See, the result of the scale function is 500. So there you go. C++ exercise number 7.